Hello everyone, my name is Adrian and I'm attempting to make an introductory video. I've been poking my nose around the RawFu community for about a week now, and I've been watching your videos and I have been commenting. I have been interested in raw foods for a while now, and I've gotten a few books on the subject to start to educate myself on the process, and really just been doing research to ascertain if this is something that I can do. Um, um, I had been interested in master cleansing for about a year now, and I've made two separate attempts. The first time I really fell flat on my face by the end of the night. And then the second time, actually, this is something that I had done with my husband and my mother, on both occasions. And the second time, my husband got so violently ill the first day, we were a little kind of concerned. So, um, I kind of used that as a reason to stop at the end of the night, although I felt great and I could have kept going. Um, so part of my problem is that I wanted to have the camaraderie of having people to do it with. And I sunk like all my eggs in that basket at the time. I don't really consider either time to be failures at all, but stepping stones in the process of looking to change the way that you do things in your life. So that's kind of really what I'd like to do again, is to master cleanse and then move into raw foods, which is, I know, completely backwards from how most people do things. And I think, honestly, that my brain is backwards. So what can I say? Most people like to ease into things and, start just adding raw foods into their diet, make it as a meal, see if you like it. Makes a lot of sense. But I always seem to want to approach things like I have always been kind of all or nothing, and I know that that can be very self-sabotaging. Um, but I think there's part of me that has to kind of see the end of the tunnel, the end result, as possible before I really can do it, which kind of makes me have to look at everything. I don't know. But anyway, I am a standard American diet person. For a couple of years when I was a teenager, I was a vegetarian, but I was a really bad vegetarian. I think I lived on pizza, and I ate lots of pasta and bread and stuff like that. And so I eventually ended up going back to the standard American diet. But I've had vegetarianism, I guess the seed was planted back then, and then it's just always been like an attractive alternative to, you know, eating the standard American diet. And then I've looked into vegan and then raw foods. It's just these are things I've been basically dancing around with and trying to find what fits me. Um, so I eat pretty much mostly vegetarian. I'm still not a great vegetarian by any stretch of the imagination. But I don't like labels. In fact, I used to get really caught up in the whole label of it, meaning it's another way that you can sabotage yourself. You have to be limited into these categories, and then you set yourself up, and then you feel like you failed, and so then you give up. And what I've learned as I've been progressing in my spiritual journey over the past few years is that I just don't want to put myself in a label, even if I categorically fit into a label. I'm just not caught up in labels. So which is why I say I'm mostly vegetarian, and if I, have something, over the course of time that isn't vegetarian or vegetarian enough or whatever, I just, whatever, and I go back to eating the way that I eat. That's been a very healing and cleansing way of doing things. Um, so, um, the thing is that being on the standard American diet, I am overweight, and I have felt the ill effects of my health, as a result of my food choices. And, in my life early, at least where I came from in my life, I wouldn't have necessarily called them choices. I would have just said, this is what we have here, this is our life. But the only thing that I would have said that consciously I would have known is that they said that, fat is bad and you should eat low fat back in the day. And since then, I've gotten much more conscious and aware of my choices, and this is the direction that I lean with my heart. My heart tells me to go here. My heart tells me this is, where the direction that you're going in. My body and my mind have not caught up with my heart yet, and they want to make this difficult. And I try to live from my heart and say, no, this doesn't have to be difficult. It does not have to be difficult. Um, it is what I make it. But I still feel very newbie and very green as far as knowing what to do or how to do it. Some of the struggles that I feel like I face in going into this journey is I have a juicer. I have a blender. They're not the fabulous kind, but it's a start. In my old days, I would have had to have an Excalibur dehydrator and a Vitamix blender and all that kind of stuff to even begin the concept. But I'm going to start with what I have. So one of my challenges is that I find it to be expensive, and I've really been trying to work on an abundance mindset and not, I can't afford not to do this kind of thing. Um, and the whole concept of eating organic versus non-organic. Obviously, organic is the best. I do have organic food available to me in my area. We have Whole Foods and we have what's called Central Market. And then, there's a couple little farmers markets and stuff like that. But it's still expensive. And I guess I'm wondering for tips from people. But how did you get started when it seemed like such a daunting task and you were really trying to be positive about it and trying not to make it challenging and figure out how to make it work? Um, that's the question I'm putting out there to you. I really look forward to meeting you all. I've already added some of you as friends. I've really enjoyed your videos, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. Thank you. Nice to meet you all.